Let's start in seated for just a moment. I want you to lift your shoulders up, back, and down. We're going to do a little bit of upper body work today, along with core, okay? A little lower body as well, but a lot of shoulders, chest, some back, and even into the side waist, into your glutes. A little bit of everything there, okay? Go ahead and take a sweep up, inhale, and then take it over to one side, just with a nice stretch and reach. Go ahead and come back to center, and then up and over to the other side. And let's take that again, just one more each side, just to kind of start to get a little more warmed up before we roll down onto the mat. And then back up to center. All right, good. So let me get this off my screen so I can see you guys better. All right, so we're gonna sit down facing the short end of your mat. So starting here, go ahead and roll all the way back. So I want you to just anchor your shoulders back, your low back kind of not smashing into the mat, but just like you can feel a nice little imprint of your low back space toward the mat. Drawing the knees up right over the hips, and start to just first kind of connect here with the space. So if you were to relax your belly, then your legs would probably start to fall forward, right? Because your hips are going to start to push forward. Your hip points are going to start to dial down because the weight of your legs is pulling them. So I want you to pull your belly in and up and engage. And try that again. Just relax and notice how your pelvis starts to rock forward if there's no tension put in the abdominal space. And then I want you to pull back in, pulling ribs down and hip points up. Not because you're moving your legs independently, but because you're just allowing the girdle muscles to do their job. And they're pulling a little bit tighter, pulling toward each other with the hips and the ribs. All right, so now anchoring here. I want you just to reach your legs out and then pull back in. So it's not a big movement. We're just going to inhale, reach out. If you need to take that one leg at a time, take it one leg at a time. Looks kind of like when you get to the hundreds, right? So you just reach and then pull back in. Shoulders are back. Palms can be up if that helps you drive your shoulder heads back more. Back in. Take one more inhale. And exhale. Now next time I want you to take them out and pause. So the legs are fairly high. We're not going very low. It's almost like a double leg drop. Right, we're going to take hands, fingertips just surrounding the sides of your head. You can add just a little lift of your chest if you'd like to lift the shoulders, but you don't have to, but you can stay supported here. Okay, so inhale, zip up the inner leg line. Start to lower your legs down just a few inches, and then back up. So you want to lower them down just to the point to where you feel that kind of shaking start to happen. All right, so inhale, lower down, exhale, up. Keeping that whole back kind of anchored toward the mat. Your low back space just feels like you can feel a nice little imprint, but it's mostly belly to spine. Pelvic floor engaged. Inhale slowly down. I feel a lot of shaking. Back up. Let's try 3. Down, pause, up, 2, 1 more. We're just really trying to get that core nice and activated here before we move on. Back into center. Draw your knees into your chest. Hug it down. Rock it around side to side. And go ahead and roll yourself up, or you can rock to one side and press yourself up. And we're going to flip it on over. Oh. Okay, so on the belly here, I want you to support your head with your hands. So you're going to stack your hands one on top of the other, and then just rest your forehead down. Okay? So shoulders pull back and down. Tops of your feet are anchored. So I want you to think about what it would be like if you were going to do cobra, all right, with very active legs. So you're pushing the tops of your feet down. You're feeling like you could lift your kneecaps a little bit, engaging your quads, and then start to drive your pubic bone toward the mat. So that's going to find an engagement of your glutes. Okay, so as you keep your head supported, I want you just to try, nothing else, but to try to lift your elbows away from the floor. So it's like you have little wings now. Okay, and then lower them back down. Okay, so try that again. Lower half of your body is still active. Lift your elbows. Try not to shrug the shoulders. I want you to drive your shoulders back and down, and then lower the elbows. So right now, head is down, hands are on the mat. Let's try it again. Inhale, lift. Engage the space between your shoulder blades. Lower it down. Now next time, we're gonna lift those elbows, pause, keep the lower half of your body engaged, and then start to float your chest off the mat. And lower back down. So we do the same thing here. Elbows, and then forehead lifts, and lower down. Inhale. Anchor again with your lower half of your body. Push out through your big toes all the way to your pinky toe. Back down. Inhale. Pubic bone down. Glutes active. And bring it down. So I want you to try to lift your elbows first. Then float the forehead. You're pushing your forehead into your hands. So don't think you have to lift your chin. Elbows out. Lift up. Lower down, feet should stay heavy, so feel like there's a sandbag sitting on top of your feet. Okay, lift. Breathe, 3 more. Lift. 2. 1 more. And release. Okay, just rest there for a moment. You can turn your head to one side, pick up your feet. And go ahead and just kind of give them a little swing. All right, so we're going to keep the head anchored again. But now your knees are going to stay bent. So I want you to kind of angle your knees out, maybe about the width of your mat. Until you feel, now just kind of flex your feet. So pull your toes back towards your knees, like you do when you're standing on the earth. And then just kind of tap your heels together. Okay, so the toes are turned out. Your knees are turned out. So knees and toes going the same direction. Okay, nice and wide there. So your heels kind of pull up, so they're just kind of anchored over your knees. And now, keep your head down, shoulders back, pubic bone anchored. And see if you can just push into your heels and then float your heels up to the sky. Lower it back down. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Just feel like you're pushing your heels together and trying to drive them up to the sky. Pubic bone anchored. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Neck is relaxed. Shoulders relaxed. Lift. Bring it down. Let's try 2 more. Lift and lower. And 1. And bring it down and release. So again, just move around a little bit. Maybe rest your head if you like to one side. Sweep the feet side to side. So you know what comes next, right? Probably. When we do 2 things like that consecutively, we're going to now put them together so they get to become one move. All right, so might not go very far. It's okay. Be very mindful that you're not feeling pain or discomfort in your low back. Okay, a little bit of work is okay, but we don't want to feel discomfort in a painful way. So I want you to push down through pubic bone. Put your heels together, toes out, knees out. Press your head into your forehead, into your hands. Okay, so let's start with that little elbow lift. Now I want you to lift your head, your chest, and your legs. Just a little bit. Float and bring it back down. Okay, try that again. Ooh, get a little cramp. All right, bring it up, float, and bring it back down. Let's try 4 more with your breath. Inhale. Exhale, lift. Shoulders pull back. Bring it down. 3, inhale. Exhale, lift. Back down. 2 more. Inhale. If you feel like you need to just go back to one or the other of these exercises, feel free to do that. All right, you don't have to do the whole version. Last one. Lift. And release it down. All right, very good. Go ahead and place hands underneath your shoulders. Start to lift up slowly. And then with a little bit of a shift back and forth a few times. Until eventually your hips kind of dive a little deeper into that nice child's pose. And then bring it back up. All right. So now coming back to seated. We're going to take the heels toward the corners of the mat, or maybe even a little wider. Now, you don't really have to worry about pushing strong through your legs or anything. Your knees could even be a little bent. I do want you to feel like you're anchored though. All right, so the legs feel kind of heavy. They don't have to necessarily push super hard, but I want them to feel a little heavy here. Okay, so we're going to do kind of a quarter, we'll call it a quarter roll back, okay? So we're not going all the way back. We're not even going to hover for very long. We're just taking a little bit of a roll back with a C-spine. Okay, so taking the arms forward, inhale. Exhale, start to pull the belly in like you're rounding out to cat stretch. Start to roll back. Your feet are gonna drag the floor with you just a little bit. Hover for just a moment and then bring it back up. So let's see if we can roll back with an inhale. Take it back, scoop the belly, pull the belly button in and up. Exhale. Coming back up. Okay, so legs are pretty wide here. Inhale. I want you to kind of draw your tail under and pull belly up and in. Engage pelvic floor muscles. So you're not sure, how do I gauge pelvic floor? We've been working on that a while, but it can still be complicated, right? So continue to feel like you are going to draw your two sit bones toward each other and your pubic bone and your tailbone toward each other. So like a little crisscross, and you're going to pull it in. Okay? Then try to drive it up like an elevator. Pull it up. Good. Let's bring it back up one more. Inhale. Exhale. Take a pause. Inhale. Exhale. Come up. Very good. All right. Awesome. Let's take it over to one side. Now, we've got a variation. I've got half a side plank, basically. So it's kind of like a half a side of bacon on, I don't know. It's like a side dish, you know, a half a side plank. Give me a half a side plank to go, please. Okay. If you have issues with your wrist, I want you to take an extra item. It can be the mat you're on, just rolling it up part way if it's fairly thick. It can be a towel or a blanket. And if you have any issues with your wrist, the first option is to go ahead and place the flat part of your palm nearest your wrist on that item and let the rest of your hand kind of come off of it, right? It's going to lessen the crease and the impact on your wrist. Also, just make adjustments to the way your fingers are turning. This may help as well, okay? So I want you to find the space that feels right for you. Your hand might just be flat on the floor. That's okay. You could also take an elbow if none of those really work for you. Okay, so find a variation that feels better for you and your joints, your body. You also may like something under your knee. Okay, so today I'm taking something under my knee. My knee's feeling a little vulnerable, so I'm going to take it over. So we're going to take it over to one side, finding your side plank on that side. So elbow, so you got wrist, elbow, shoulder alignment, making sure that your hand isn't way back here. Okay, so shoulder pull back. Now, just taking your arm, you can take your arm up or you can leave it on your hip, either way. So I want you to push your hips forward, shoulder back. If it bothers your neck, turn, look down. Okay, toes are pulled toward your head, so towards your knee. We're just going to lift and lower. So just a basic lift and lower right here. Toes forward though, because we're on our knee, our hips are straight ahead. Okay, so be mindful that your booty's not popping back. All right, you're shifting it forward a little, pulling your shoulders back. Sometimes I even want to place my hand across that low back space. That opens my shoulder a little, but also helps me to remind myself to kind of push the hips a little bit forward rather than letting the bottom sink back. Okay, so let's try 3 right after this one. There we go. 3, 2, and 1. Good, now take a little pause right here. We're just going to do little circles. So you can point through your toe and little circles. One direction, it doesn't matter. Breathe. Scoop up and in, pelvic floor still engaged. Reverse your circle. Around. See if you can pull the top shoulder back if your hand is behind you, especially. Now, give it a little pause. I want you to bring your knee up, not necessarily tucking it, just bring it up. Now take it out through the foot and reach back. So bring it up, reach out, and push it back. So I'm just doing a little hip extension, drawing knee up, pushing out, and then slightly back. Inhale, exhale. Do you feel it in your booties? Yes. I'm feeling it on both sides of my booty. Part of that may be Miss Pamela Crane's fault, though, from Wednesday. Take it out. One more. And then pause. When you pause here, I want you just to have that hip and heel in alignment. Now little pulses up for 8, 7, 6, 5. Look down if it's bothering your neck. 3, 2, 1. And release. Woo! All right, booties. All right, this is how we get stronger. I know, right? Slap them out. Okay, over to the other side. Excuse me. All right, here we go. Once again, be mindful here. This shoulder, we don't want it to be coming forward at all, so we're not collapsing in it. I want you to pull it back, and then feel like you could push whatever you're on away. So if it's, even if you have something on your hand, feel like you can kind of push it away from you a little bit. Okay, then take your hand either up on the hip or maybe slightly behind you. So we're flexing the foot of the straight leg, lift it up and lower it down. Lift it up, lower down. Just a nice little lateral lift, keeping hips as stacked as you can, shoulders stacked, a little softness of your elbow. And if you feel like, so if you tend to take your ear, your top ear towards your top shoulder, that's going to strain your neck a little more even, right? So just kind of even it out. You used to have a yoga instructor that would tell us to bring your nose down just enough and your head in line with your spine. Like you could look down and you were afraid you had a little stain right here on your sternum, right on your chest. You dropped some ice cream on you, but you're not quite sure. You're trying to check it out without being obvious. So there you go. Check out your spaghetti stain, your ice cream stain. Take one more and pause. Let's go circle. Soften your elbow that you're on. Look down if you need to. Keep everything nice and steady. Booties are burning. All right, reverse your circle. Blow it out. Again. Good. Now bring your knee in. Push out. And then just push slightly back. So bring it in, push out, and slightly back without moving your hips forward and back. Okay, out, push back. Let's go 3, pull it in, push it out, and back. 2, last one. And then we've got that lateral pulse. What? Yes, take it back in line with your hip. Here you go. Up. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ah, I know. I'm not making any friends today. All right, drop your hips side to side. Ugh. All right, that'll help stretch them out a little until we get back to it. Okay. Get a little break there, though. So if you've got an item on your mat, go ahead and move it. Make sure your ball is going to be on the mat so that you are supported once you grab your ball. We're going to also take your weights, have those nearby. All right, grab some water. So let's just have a seat on the ball. Okay, probably start it toward the back of your mat because we're going to walk out a little. Okay, so we're gonna walk out. Make sure you got your weights. Go ahead and you can take them, or weighted objects. If you don't have anything weighted, that's okay. You can do this without weights. Okay, but something light should be handy. Just give you a little bit of resistance. So we're gonna walk out. We're gonna find that supported bridge on the ball. So your feet will be anchored. You can take them fairly wide. We're lifting the booty, resting your head and your shoulders. So we're gonna take the weights, or the hands, right up. Now, you're going to cross your arms like you're giving yourself a hug and then bend your elbows. Take it back up, open up, inhale. Now, switch your arms. So we're just going from a chest fly to a big hug. Inhale. Exhale, cross it over, slow and controlled. That's the key. That's why we're not using real heavy weights, because we're just going to go nice and slow and controlled. So every time you open your arms up, keep your elbows softly bent and squeeze your shoulder blades toward each other. Okay, those are helping you to keep from just flying open and you've got control. Then your pectorals, the muscles in your chest, engage to bring your arms back to center and cross over. Okay, so we're inhale. So really, if we're focused enough, we're going to be getting work in both directions. Okay, so usually we'll do a reverse fly or that shoulder blade retraction. Okay, we'll do that whenever we're bent over, and we will in a minute. But you'll get them both here if you really focus. Squeeze your glutes, lift your booty, cross. So we're still alternating. Give yourself a hug, bring it up slow. Inhale, exhale, bring it back across. Take it again, inhale, exhale, cross. Take one more, inhale, exhale, cross. And then bring it right here, hold. Okay, so now your weights are up or your hands are up. You can bring them close together or they can stay separated, okay? Your choice. I want you to squeeze your glutes again. Imagine your back was on the mat again, just like when you were reclining. Draw your hip points up, your rib cage down. Anchor here. Now start to take your arms overhead. They stay mostly straight. Your rib cage does not lift, so I'm not letting my booty drop and my ribs open up. So I want you to close it all up and then pull it back over just over your belly button. Okay, inhale, or just over your hips, somewhere in there. Inhale over, exhale, pull it back across. Good, inhale, so we're still gaining lots of core strength. All the way up from the base of that core line, right? And we've got hips, or we've got our glutes engaged. We could even be squeezing another little ball here in between the thighs, adding more inner thigh space engagement if you wanted, or a block. We can always move up to that later. Right now though, we're also working those muscles that lift your arms, so the front of your shoulder, and then also under your arms. Yes, ladies, the bra fat that we all like to talk about. Okay, into the lats. Inhale. Exhale, bring it across. 3. You got to keep your ribs down though. Glutes engaged like a table. You look like a table. Take one more. Inhale. Exhale, bring it across and give it a pause. Bringing them wet, hands down to your hips or your belly and start to walk yourself back. Woo! All right. So having a seat here. Shoulders pulled back and down. So again, with or without weights, water bottles would be sufficient as well. Arms down by your side. Put a little bit of soft bend in your elbow. Okay, inhale. Start to lift your arms up no higher than shoulder height. Kind of dive the top of your weight or your hand, your thumb side, down just a little. Bring it back down. Just a nice little shoulder fly or lateral lift with your arms. Out. Bring it down. Now every time you're lifting out and lifting up, pull down with your shoulder blades. Okay, this is really important. We're anchoring. So with that anchor, you're still working in the upper back as well and in the mid back. Okay, mid, low traps, kind of anchoring those shoulder blades. Got your scapular muscles engaging, suctioning your shoulder blades down. Inhale, exhale. You can even give a tiny little squeeze between your shoulder blades. Okay, getting a little bit deeper into that space of your posterior muscles. I always have to say that very slowly because it gets confusing with posterior and posterior. But it is a posterior muscle as well. Okay, so let's go 2 more. But they help you with your posture, right? And they help with your neck support. Take 1 more. And then bring the arms all the way up. Take a pause, bend the elbows. Shoulders are back and down. Here we go. We're going to take a 2 count up and then back down. So elbows are out, even with the shoulders. Okay, up, 2, down, 2. You're still engaging core, just like when you were taking your arms over your head a moment ago, or anytime you're on your mat. Ribs down. No, you don't have to tuck your tail, but I want you to engage your girdle muscles. Okay, up. Try not to let your arms lower, really any lower than your elbow to shoulder height. Okay, good. Your elbows might come out to the front though. Right? If your elbows or if your shoulders are kind of clicking, popping, or giving you any kind of crazy, weird sensations, bring them slightly to the front. Let's go 2 more. Up. Breathe with it. Good. And 1. Now, I want you to take it little singles. So it just means we go kind of at tempo, up and down. Breathing. Push up, but pull down. So push up, but pull down with your upper back. You've got it. Good. You can always drop weights. Good. 3, Make sure your hips are under your shoulders. 2. And then we've got 1, but guess what? We're gonna hold. Yay! Bring the elbows in, and now pull them back. Bring them in, tap them, pull them back. Good. So we're still, what are we doing again here? Woo, we're working the top of that shoulder for sure, right? But we're also working the upper back and the chest at the same time. All right, so we're going forward and back. Good. Let's take 3. I know I feel it. 2. Give me 1 more. You could do this with no weight at all, right? And then bring it down. Woo! Shrug them out. Make sure that did not get in your neck. If you're really feeling that tension in your neck, probably starting to lose control of the movement and shrugging, right? Tensing up. So we're going to really focus on that. All right, so now I want you to come forward. We got 1 more while we're here. Let's come forward. You can rest your rib cage on your thighs if you like. You can have support here if that feels okay for you and your back. I'm going to turn just a little bit so we can come as far forward as you feel comfortable. We just want to make sure that we're not rounding. Okay, so you can rest your rib cage towards your thighs and kind of lift your heart a little bit. Bring the feet in pretty close though. I want you to lift your shoulders up, back, and down, and then pause when you get them back and down. Your nose is toward the floor just a little bit, gazing about a foot in front of your toes. Okay, so your heart is forward and you're over as far as you can. Okay, inhale. I want you to squeeze your shoulder blades together. Okay, so upper back, squeeze shoulder blades, then take the arms just right out to the sides. Good. Bring it back down. So there should be a lot of intention there, with or without weight. Squeeze the shoulder blades, so that's going to lift your heart a little more. Pull back, and then bring it down. So I want you to follow with me. Don't get ahead of me. Try not to go too fast. Pull back, hold. Now lift and pause, and then bring it back down. So think about the opposite of the fly, right? So we're pulling back, reverse fly. You got to squeeze back, and then release. There you go. You can even have a little more bent elbow. Pull back, neck long, hold. Take it back down. Good. Inhale, making sure that if you're not too far forward, you might be more likely to be doing a lateral raise again. All right, so not that that's a horrible thing, but right now I'm trying to work the back. So I want you to make sure that when you take your arms out, especially if you're lifted higher, your palms are facing more forward and you're pulling back. And then bring it back down, take 1 more. And pull back. And release. Awesome. Okay. Let's set those down. We're going to go back down to the mat. I had 1 more thing, but I don't know if we'll run out of time. Let's give it a try, okay? Before we get back to a little bit of core. Okay, so shake it out on your way down. So you might just take it kind of front to back, swing them a little. All right, so I'm going to try to make this not very complicated. But I want you to see if you can take a block and your weights, all right? Excuse me. So you'll need your weights really close to you because we're going to have this funny little kind of T-Rex arm situation happening here. All right, so I'm going to take this block, go ahead and bring it into you. Let your ladies hold it and squeeze it, okay, between your elbows. Make sure it's between your elbows so you can do this, all right? Make sure it's not going to go anywhere. Okay, so we're squeezing it with our elbows. We're going to take our weights. So we should be able to move our arms. Yep, there you go. But we're squeezing it with our elbows. Okay. So now we're going to recline back. And you're already bent at 90 degrees with your elbows, and you're holding that block. And just go ahead and move your elbows so that they're about over your shoulders. Inhale now. Straighten your arms. Reach your weights or your hands to the sky. Inhale. Exhale, press. Inhale. Now there's a reason, there's a method in my madness, as you know. If I told you just to try to squeeze your elbows to center, they're gonna fly out. I see it all the time. They're gonna fly right out. If I said try to pretend you're holding a block, you're gonna try, but they're gonna fly out. Now you have to hold them. Okay, inhale, squeeze your block. Even if you're doing this with no weight at all, this is a lot of work. Working into the back of the arm. Everybody wants to know, how do I tone the back of my arm? Well, let me tell you, it's not easy, right? It takes work. but it can be done. And we're going to tone them here. Very important that we have strong triceps so that we can push ourselves off of the floor. Okay, let's take 3, 2, 1 more. And I know those shoulders are kind of an accessory to this, so we've already worked those and they're burning. All right, bring it back down. Release that funky donkey block. Get it out of the way. All right, shake it out. Here we go. Hands behind your head. Draw the knees up. Here we go. Back into that kind of table-like position with your legs again. Little single leg stretch, but we're going to keep our hands behind the head or across the edges of your head here. Okay, so inhale, take one leg out. Exhale, bring it back in. Inhale. Exhale. So we're going slow. Okay, scoop the belly. Your head does not have to be lifted. If it is, you're going to keep that space between chin and chest, like the size of maybe a nice little orange or a peach. Okay, take it out, belly in. We're going to go a tiny bit faster, but still with control. Okay, so here we go. To out, switch, switch, switch. Still breathing. In, exhale. Think about just kind of breathing in for 2, out for 2. It's just kind of a pretty quick breath, but deep. Exhale, inhale, exhale. Let's go. 4, 3, 2. Keep going with your legs and crisscross it over, up and over just for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Woo, bring the hands down, the feet down, just a few bridges. You're welcome. Bring it back down, nice and slow. Inhale, lift up. Press strong through your feet, especially into your heels and your big toe mounds. Maybe you can peel your toes off the mat a little, but keep the mounds of your feet down. Toes going the same direction wherever your knees. So try to keep your knees parallel, and maybe your toes are straight ahead. They could maybe be a little out, but making sure that doesn't knock your knees in, right? So just wherever that needs to be for your knees to feel comfortable and parallel. So lift, lower down. Take one more. Bring it down and then release. Go ahead and roll it over. I know you're like, is this not over yet? Almost. Flip it on over. One more super fun move for the whole body. It's like full family entertainment over here, okay? Got the whole situation involved. So, shoulders roll back. I want you to lift up, out like you're in a sphinx. Okay, so find a sphinx. Forearms down, your palms can be down, or I make a fist sometimes, like I'm beating the earth with my fist. And then press toward the fist. Okay? Shoulders pull back. Scoop your belly, start to lift your hips. You might be staying right here. Okay, this may be your modified plank today. Make sure you're not sagging in your shoulders. Push away from your forearms. And then maybe straighten it out, finding full modified plank. Now, you don't have to twist, but if you're twisting, we're going to dip a hip and then dip the other hip. Now, my shoulders aren't moving, so there should be no problem with your shoulders here as far as torquing your shoulders, because there's no movement in your shoulders. You're pushing up away from the earth. If you need your knees down, go here and see if you can just dip a hip without moving your shoulders, okay? So, or stay in your modified plank and just breathe. For 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ding, ding, ding. Yay! Sit back. Take a little child's rest. Start to bring your hands by your knees. Roll yourself up. Take the hands back. So if it bothers your knees here, just come to seated, like cross-legged seated position. If you can stay here, just reach your hands back onto your fingertips. Pull shoulders back, lift heart. And don't let your head fall back, but maybe just kind of gaze up to where the ceiling and wall meet. Open up your chest. Awesome work. We work the chest, the shoulders. We work the triceps. We worked, what else did we work? We worked all the muscles in the back, muscles through the front of the body, some glute action, some inner thigh action. And let's go ahead and release it, shake it out. All right, let's come back to where you started, do a quick stretch here and a twist. So if you feel like you really need mermaid, take it, it's okay. I'm just gonna go side to side a couple times. And then take a nice little twist over to one side. And then back around and over to the other. And then come back to center. Take a big deep breath in. Exhale. Just bring your fingertips together because we really ignited that fire. So we've got this nice little fiery mudra here. We're gonna just place that fire right in the center and bring it all the way down. Deep breath in. Exhale. When you exhale, I want you to push it out. Release what you don't need because you stoked to that fire today. Awesome work.